Can you forgive really an unfaithfulness, a cheating after 20 years of marriage?
I love the way you've got it all categorized, no? Well, it was 20 years, and they were faithful, and it was only one time. I guess I can forgive it. Is that what it is? I think that's what you're thinking. Or are you thinking, after 20 years of marriage, how could you do that? Is that what you're thinking? Because the details are not important. It doesn't matter if it's 1 year or 20 years. It's up to you. How do you feel? If you feel you can let go, you can let that go. You can get back with your partner or stay with your partner. Do it 100%. Don't always have the unfaithfulness in your back pocket. You have to make that choice. You either stay and trust and give it 100% so that it works. Because if you take resentment into that relationship, it will never work. You know, every time he does something, like put the garbage out, why didn't you put the garbage out? But because you're unfaithful. You know, or maybe it was a woman. I don't know, I was just assuming. This is a woman's mind, no? But you have to let go. And you have to trust. And you have to give 100% if you want it to work. Or let go and go somewhere else. It's like this, no? Because otherwise things don't move forward. They don't move forward. Nothing grows. Nothing changes. You know, obviously, if there's something there, something happened. Yeah, and you need to rebuild that which you want. So it's in your hands. You know, yes, 100%. No, let go 100%. And let go of the resentment. No matter what you do, let go of the resentment.
¿Cuál es la forma más sana para poder desapegarse de los seres queridos como pareja, amiga, familia, etc.? Which one is the healthier way to detach from the loved ones, like partner, friends, family, etc.?
You know, it's not about healthy.
Es que no se trata de que sea sana.
Attachment
El apego.
is fear.
El apego es miedo.
That's all it is. And you don't want that with your partner. You don't want that with your children. You don't want that with your friends. You don't want fear. You want love, unconditional love. So you see this movement of fear and you come back. You're always coming back. There's a difference between love and control through fear. And you have to be able to see that difference. When you love unconditionally, you allow freedom. You allow trust. You let go. And this is detachment. You know, we confuse detachment with abandonment. And it's not that. One's fear and one's love. What's the similarity? Nothing. Nothing. I detach because I trust in myself. I detached because I love myself. And because I love myself and I trust in me, I trust you. I don't need to control you and decide what you're going to do. So I know that you love me. And so I feel safe. I already feel safe. I detach because I love.
¿Y cómo se separa el cariño del control? How do you separate the love from the control?
There's no similarity.
Es que no tiene nada que ver uno con el otro.
Control comes from fear.
El control viene del miedo.
It comes from fear.
Viene del miedo.
I impose.
Yo me impongo.
Huh? Is that love?
¿Es eso amor?
No.
No.
As a parent,
Como padres, por ejemplo.
of course, you can put a limit.
Tienes que poner límites.
You're going to say, don't run in front of the bus.
No salgas corriendo frente al autobús.
That's obviously.
Obvio es eso.
But when they get to 40
Pero cuando llegan a los
and you're still controlling their lives,
controlando sus vidas,
you must start to see
tienes que empezar a ver
that there's
que
fear.
hay miedo detrás.
Yes? Your fear of loss.
Un miedo a esa pérdida.
And this
Y
irony
la ironía
that you can control love.
tú puedes controlar el amor.
Where are you? What are you doing? Who are you with?
¿Dónde estás?
So boring.
Súper aburrido eso.
I'm controlling. Why are you controlling? Because I don't trust. Why don't I trust? Because I don't trust myself. If you don't trust someone, you don't trust in your own integrity. You don't trust that you're good enough. That's why you're controlling. And when you control, you don't empower people. You limit them. If you have a bunch of workers, you give the orders and you let go. And they have to step into their power. But if you're on top of them all the time, you might as well do it yourself. I empower people through my own power. I let go of my exigencia and I allow. I place limits. I give reflection, but I let go. You have to keep letting go. This is empowerment. And it comes from your empowerment. Hmm? If you're imposing fear,
Si tú estás imponiendo con miedo,
you don't create abundance.
no vas a crear abundancia,
You don't create
no
love.
vas a crear amor,
You don't create
no
unity.
vas a crear unidad,
You don't create
no creas
greatness
grandeza
in other
en
people.
otras personas.
And if people are so
Y si
useless,
las personas son tan inútiles,
you can't continue with those
no
people.
puedes continuar con esas personas.
You need to be clear about that
Necesitas
too.
también estar claro con eso.
Don't be a victim.
No seas una víctima de ellos.
This is a work environment I'm talking
Yo
about.
estoy hablando, por ejemplo, al entorno de trabajo.
Yeah. Because that's usually where the most control is.
Porque normalmente ahí es donde más se juega el control.
And you have to let go.
Y tienes que soltarlo.
And with the
Y
family,
con la familia,
of course you have to let
por
go.
supuesto que tienes que soltar.
At some point you have to
En
trust.
algún momento tú tienes que confiar.
And you have to heal your own fear,
Tienes que
no?
sanar tu propio miedo.
You can't be controlling everyone because you're afraid.
Porque tú estés asustado y tengas miedo.
Mm.
Cuando la faceta nos indica profundo en el corazón, tengo que imaginar o sentir esto para lograr el punto de atención. When the facet is telling us deep in the heart, I have to imagine
Deep in the
myself
heart of Texas. Yeah.
to be able to realize the point of attention.
You know, this is an energetic portal.
El corazón es un portal energético.
In fact, one of the women had an experience today at the
De
beach.
hecho, una de las señoras hoy tuvo una experiencia en la playa.
And when we're children,
Cuando éramos niños,
all of these portals are open.
todos nuestros portales estaban abiertos.
But when we become
Pero
individuals,
cuando nos tornamos en individuos,
our personalities, our fears, our protections, we close everything.
cerramos todo.
And then with the point of attention,
Usando el punto de atención,
it starts to
ahí
open.
empieza a abrirse. Empiezas
And you start to realize
a darte cuenta
that everything's
que
energy,
todo es energía,
that there's no limit
que no hay límite.
to how deep you can go.
Límite a cuán profundo puedes ir.
Okay, so it's just about placing your attention there
Solo llevar tu atención ahí
and going in.
e ir hacia adentro.
Always going in.
Siempre yendo
Always going in.
siempre yendo hacia adentro.
Yeah?
¿Cómo hacer para no perder la naturalidad y espontaneidad Si continuamente estoy intentando no engancharme con mis emociones, oops, how I can not lose my naturality and spontaneity if I'm all the time trying to not to get hooked in my emotions.
Well, that's just a contradiction.
Es una contradicción en sí misma esa.
Because if you're having emotions,
Porque si estás teniendo emociones,
that's part of your spontaneity.
es parte de tu espontaneidad.
And you need to feel them.
Necesitas sentirla.
Why do people feel
¿Por qué las personas sienten?
that they can't feel? How do people communicate? We communicate through emotion, through love, through feelings. Our hearts connect because we feel compassion for each other. That's what moves the world. And if you're going to be an involved being, an evolved being, what happens? You have to be vulnerable because that's the language of love. Doesn't mean you're hysterical all the time, but you're emotional, you're open, you're connected, you feel empathy, you feel compassion, you feel all of these things. And from that place comes spontaneity. And it's a beautiful thing to be vulnerable, no? I don't want to be like a board. It's nice when things affect you, when people's hearts touch you. What are you protecting yourself from? I want to be spontaneity, and I want to be a robot. How do you do that? I've never seen a spontaneous robot. Doesn't exist. Huh? Oh, I'm having an emotion. I'm feeling spontaneous. I think I want a hug. Give me a hug. Thank you, that's enough. We're not like that. Why? We're spontaneous. We laugh, we cry. We do human things, not robot things. Huh?
Durante la meditación mi mente se dispersa mucho. ¿Hay alguna técnica para disminuir esta dispersión y concentrarme más? During the meditation, my mind is very, very dispersed. Is there any technique to diminish this dispersion and be able to concentrate more?
You know, the thing is, you're not meditating. Meditation comes. It comes by itself. You are unifying. You're emptying. And this has a movement. It has a movement of healing and stress leaving. The no mind comes by itself. You cannot force peace. It doesn't matter how long you do it, it comes by itself. So how does it come? How does it come? Through surrender. Through letting go. It comes. So don't fight with the thoughts. Don't worry about being dispersed. It's not important. Okay? It doesn't matter.
¿Por qué nos gusta sufrir? ¿Fuimos condicionados de niños para esto? Si no se corta esta tendencia en una familia, ¿está destinada a repetirse? Why do we like to suffer? We were conditioned as children for this. If we don't cut that tendency in a family, this continues repeating.
Absolutely. We teach children to suffer. We teach children fear. It takes an extraordinary involved person to not teach that. Because we live in victim consciousness. We live there. And we project that. Suffering. If you don't do what you're told, I will punish you. and you will suffer.
y vas a sufrir.
We don't empower
No
children.
empoderamos a los niños,
We control them
los controlamos
through fear.
a través del miedo.
We don't teach them
No les
responsibility.
enseñamos responsabilidad,
We teach them
les
fear.
enseñamos miedo.
As we were taught fear,
Como nos enseñaron miedo a nosotros,
as everyone was taught
todo el
fear,
mundo le enseñaron el miedo.
and through
Y
fear,
a través del miedo,
we are taught to
se
suffer.
nos enseña a sufrir.
And it's part of our experience.
Esa es parte de nuestra experiencia.
The level of
El
suffering
nivel de sufrimiento,
can be diminished.
eso puede ser disminuido.
It can be diminished through the evolution of consciousness.
La evolución de la conciencia.
The same as with humans. With adults,
Los adultos,
you learn not to suffer.
aprendes a no sufrir.
And we can teach the children
Podemos enseñar a los niños
to take responsibility
responsabilidad
and not
que
suffer.
no sufran.
But we teach them to be
Pero,
victims.
en cambio, les enseñamos a ser víctimas.
And what do they
¿Y
learn?
qué es lo que aprenden?
They learn to manipulate,
Manipular,
they learn to seduce,
seducir.
they learn to control. Children do all these things. By the time they're 5,
Pero cuando ya tienen 5 años,
they've got it all worked out.
ya lo entendieron todo.
When I do this,
Cuando hago esto,
Mummy feels
mami
guilty.
se siente culpable.
When I do this,
Cuando hago esto otro,
Mummy gives me what I want.
mami me da lo que yo quiero.
When I do whatever.
Todo lo que sea.
So they've just learned it all.
Así que ya lo aprendieron todo a esa edad.
But we haven't taught them to be powerful,
No les hemos enseñado a ser poderosos,
unlimited.
ilimitados.
Tell them that they're masterful
Que
creators.
son creadores maestros.
When they take
Cuando
responsibility,
toman responsabilidad,
they don't need to suffer.
no necesitan
They use it to
lo
grow.
usan para crecer.
We don't teach them the actions of love. Why? Because we don't know them.
Porque no los conocemos, no lo sabemos.
We don't know them.
No lo sabemos.
How often are children raising children?
¿Cuán a menudo son niños criando a niños?
Here I am, I'm 18 years old.
Hoy tengo 18 años,
I haven't got a clue
no tengo ni idea
about anything,
sobre nada de nada.
and I'm raising a child.
Estoy criando una criatura.
I really,
Realmente.
I want to be out
Yo
partying,
quisiera estar de fiesta,
but here I
pero
am,
acá estoy,
having a child.
teniendo un niño.
All the
Todas
circumstances.
las circunstancias.
This is what my mother did.
Esto es lo que hizo mi mamá,
This is what my grandmother
lo que
did.
hizo mi abuela.
We just keep repeating the same rubbish.
Seguimos repitiendo la misma basura.
And then we get to 40
Y después llegamos a los 40
and we go, oh, I'm
y
miserable.
vamos, me siento miserable.
You know, nothing's working.
Nada funciona.
Because we're taught fear.
Que se nos enseñó el miedo.
And this is what we're changing now.
Y esto es lo que estamos cambiando ahora.
You know, my parents were extremely
Mis
evolved,
padres eran extremadamente evolucionados.
very astute,
Muy astutos.
well educated, very loving, very open minded,
abiertos de mente.
but really,
Pero de verdad,
but completely
eran
dysfunctional
completamente disfuncionales
as well.
también.
Because it's here.
Porque la cosa está aquí.
It's here.
Está aquí.
That absolute
Esa absoluta
consciousness,
conciencia,
that absolute trust,
esa confianza,
that absolute security and greatness
absoluta y esa grandeza.
is a product of love.
Eso es un producto del amor.
It's not about having an open
Tener
mind.
una mente abierta.
It's about having an open
Se trata
heart.
de tener un corazón abierto.
That's the
Esa
difference.
es la diferencia. ¿Qué es la mente? ¿Por qué es tan fuerte que puede dominar nuestros pensamientos? What is the mind? Why is so strong that dominates our thoughts?
Well, they come from their mind.
Bueno, los pensamientos vienen de la mente.
So obviously it controls
Pero
them.
obviamente los tiene que controlar.
But it doesn't need to rule.
Pero no necesitas dirigirlo, no necesitas arreglarlo.
You can have the
Puedes
consciousness
tener la conciencia
to see the chatter of
para
duality.
ver toda esa conversación de la dualidad.
Because it's just that.
Y es solo eso.
The mind has to move.
Tiene que moverse.
Because if it doesn't move,
Si no se mueve,
you're dead.
tú estás muerto.
So it has to move.
Tiene que moverse la mente.
But when it moves,
Pero cuando se mueve,
do you have to take notice?
¿tienes que darte cuenta?
No.
No,
Because you have something much bigger.
porque tú tienes algo más grande.
And it's called
Que
awareness.
se llama darse cuenta, conciencia,
It can witness that.
que puede atestiguar.
And it knows the duality of the mind.
Conoce la dualidad de la mente,
It knows the ego.
conoce el ego,
It knows what to choose.
conoce qué elegir.
Because there's always a choice.
Siempre hay una elección.
This is the bigger mind.
Esta es la mente mayor.
This connects you with everything.
Te conecta con todo.
every human,
cada ser humano,
every part of
cada
existence,
parte de la existencia,
every part of omniscience, the totality is in this mind.
en esta mente,
It's 1,000,000,000 times more powerful
de veces más poderosa
than this.
que esta otra.
This is a little baby mind,
Es una mente de bebé,
illimited,
limitada,
certainly not eternal,
no eterna,
doesn't know the
no
truth,
conoce la verdad,
trapped in the matrix,
atrapada en la Matrix,
trapped in the duality.
la dualidad.
So through this
A
mind,
través de esta mente,
you need to witness it.
tú necesitas atestiguar.
And that's why
Y es
when we start to cultivate so much love,
empezamos a cultivar tanto amor,
that roaring silence,
silencio rugiente,
that beautiful place of peace and
ese hermoso
security,
lugar de paz y de seguridad.
this
Esto
becomes our servant
se transforma en nuestro sirviente.
instead of us being servants to the mind.
Nosotros siendo sirvientes de la mente.
And this is brilliant
Es brillante.
for a human experience,
Experiencia humana.
has lots of great ideas,
Ideas grandiosas.
knows where you live,
Sabe dónde uno vive.
know who's you're married to, knows how to turn the car on,
Prender el auto.
knows how to get in a plane,
Sabe cómo subir a un avión.
knows how to make an omelette.
Sabe cómo hacer un omelette.
Like it does the things you need.
Hace las cosas que necesitas.
I'm sure it does lots of other things
Estoy segura
too.
que hace muchas otras cosas también.
But it can't be in control.
Pero no puede estar en control.
It cannot be in
No puede
control.
estar en control.
This has to be in control.
Esto tiene que estar en control.
Mm?
Cada vez que cometo un error, me atormento recordándolo una y otra vez. ¿Cómo puedo perdonarme y sobre todo sacarme la vergüenza que siento al recordar? Every time I do a mistake, I torment myself remembering it once and again. How can I forgive myself and especially erase the shame I feel when I remember?
What a drama, no?
Drama, ¿no?
What a horrible drama.
Qué drama horrible.
Oh, I made a mistake.
Ay, me equivoqué.
Oh, I'm so
Ay,
ashamed.
mira la avergonzada.
But you never made a mistake.
Pero en realidad nunca te
It doesn't
equivocaste.
exist a mistake.
Las equivocaciones no existen.
You did something,
Hiciste algo
and from that
y
moment,
desde ese momento
I evolve.
evoluciona.
Oh, I did it again.
Ay, lo volví a repetir.
Oh, well, I evolve again. Oh, I did it again.
Ay, lo hice de nuevo.
Oh, I evolve again.
Evolucionó de nuevo.
Oh, I didn't do it this
Esta
time.
vez no lo hice.
Yay! This is how you
Es
change.
así como uno va cambiando.
Why do we have this idea
Tenemos la idea
that we need to punish ourselves?
necesitamos castigarnos.
Why?
¿Por qué?
You know, we've got this idea that we're going to be punished by God.
Tenemos esta idea de que Dios nos va a castigar.
You know, He's on a
Y
holiday.
Él está de vacaciones.
He doesn't need to do anything.
No necesita hacer
All these little humans are just killing themselves.
Pollitos se estén matándose el uno al otro.
Just stop.
Para de hacerlo.
Heaven's here.
El paraíso está aquí.
You are here to
Tú
evolve.
estás aquí
You're
para
here to
evolucionar,
change.
estás aquí para
You're here to
cambiar,
love.
estás aquí para amar.
And every experience you
Y cada
have
experiencia que tienes
is part of your
es
evolution.
parte de tu propia evolución.
You know, and sometimes we do
Algunas
things
veces hacemos cosas
that come from fear,
que vienen del miedo.
and it's shocking what we do.
Choqueante las cosas que hacemos.
But then we don't do it
Pero
again.
después no las volvemos a hacer.
We go, okay,
Vamos, bueno,
that didn't work.
eso no funciona.
I don't think I do that again.
No creo que voy a volver a hacer eso.
But change.
No cambies.
But not by beating yourself
Pero
up.
no dándole latigazos. ni
You know, you can
castigándote.
feel what it
Tú
provokes,
puedes sentir lo que te provoca emocionalmente.
but then you have to
Pero después
change.
tienes que cambiar.
Because when you change,
Porque cuando cambias,
you're giving.
ahí estás dando.
When you change,
Cambias.
you're a
Tú
creator.
eres un creador.
When you change, you can do other people to
Tú
change.
puedes contarle a las otras gentes cómo cambiar.
Because you are an inspiration.
Es una inspiración.
But when you're sitting there going,
Pero cuando estás
oh,
sentado ahí,
you can't imagine what I did,
imaginar lo
and I
que
feel so bad,
mal,
what happens?
¿qué sucede?
Everyone has to listen to
Todo el
you.
mundo te tiene que escuchar.
Yeah, it's okay, you poor thing, it's not your fault, it was just something that happened.
Algo que te pasó nomás.
It was your fault.
Claro que fue tu culpa.
Now stop
Ahora deja de hacer eso. Para.
and give.
Y da.
See the victim?
Es la víctima.
Victim wants attention.
La quiere recibir atención.
Victim wants to suffer.
Quiere sufrir.
Oh, but you're bad. Don't be like that.
No, si es así,
Like little kids.
como si fuéramos niños.
When are we going to grow up?
¿Cuándo vamos a crecer?
When are we going to take
¿Cuándo
responsibility?
vamos a tomar responsabilidad?
Why do we always want other people to save
Que
us
otras personas nos salven.
and tell us it's
Que
okay?
nos digan que está bien.
When are we going to tell that to
¿Cuándo
ourselves?
nos vamos nosotros a decir eso?
It's okay.
Que está bien.
You know, yep,
¿Sí?
that was más o menos. Huh? Okay, now we change.
Ahora cambio.
I'm not doing that again.
Ya no vuelvo a hacer eso más.
Does that sound more mature?
¿Suena más maduro esto?
Yes?
¿Verdad que sí?
Of course, because you're loving you.
Porque ahí tú te estás amando a ti.
You have to catch the victim.
Tienes que cachar a la víctima.
You've got to catch it.
Tienes que cachar a la víctima.
I love it.
Me encanta.
I love to complain. I love to suffer.
Me encanta sufrir.
I love to be bad. I love to feel
Me
guilty.
encanta sentirme culpable.
You have to catch it
Tienes que cacharla cuando aparece.
and just see it for what it
Y
is.
verla por lo que es.
What is it?
¿Qué es?
An illusion.
Una ilusión.
It doesn't exist.
No existe.
It's here.
Está aquí en la cabeza nomás.
Mm?
¿Cómo puedo ser constante con las actividades y trabajos que me da la vida? Me cuesta terminar todo lo que comienzo. How can I be constant with the activities and works that brings my life? It's very hard for me to finish what I stopped.
You need to focus
Necesitas enfocarte.
because you're dispersed.
Porque estás disperso.
And what do?
¿Y qué es lo que haces entonces?
A little bit of everything, but you don't finish anything.
No terminas nada.
And then you feel bad.
Después te sientes mal.
And it takes you into a place of suffering.
Lleva a un lugar de sufrimiento.
So focus.
Entonces, enfócate.
Excellence focuses.
Excelencia se
It
enfoca.
terminates this,
Termino esto.
and then it finishes this,
Después termina esto.
and then it finishes this, and it finishes this. Because if you don't finish anything,
No terminas nada.
you don't have a result.
No vas a tener un resultado.
If you don't have a result,
Si no tienes un resultado,
what are you doing?
¿qué estás haciendo?
Suffering, getting confused, running in circles, getting stressed.
Estresándote.
Just anchor
Simplemente ánclate.
and make that commitment.
Toma ese compromiso.
Because you can see you do that.
Porque tú puedes ver que haces eso, ¿no?
It's a
Es
habit.
un hábito.
Oh, I'm doing this.
No, estoy haciendo eso.
Oh, now I'm going to go and do this. Oh, where was I? Oh, yeah. Oh, look.
Mira esto.
You can do that all your life.
Lo puedes hacer toda tu vida.
But you're going to be
Pero
stressed.
vas a estar estresado.
You're not going to be
Vas a
focused.
estar enfocado.
You're not going to complete
No
anything.
vas a completar nada.
Anchor.
Ánclate.
Finish.
Termina las cosas.
Anchor.
Ánclate.
Finish. Anchor. Finish. Finish.
Termina.
Great.
Buenísimo. Háblanos de la culpa y cómo sanarla. Talk about guilt and how to heal it.
There's nothing to heal.
En realidad no hay nada que sanar.
Just stop.
Solo para.
It was just what I was talking
Era lo
about.
que te estaba hablando antes, ¿no?
The victim.
La víctima.
I feel bad.
Me siento mal,
I feel
me
guilty.
siento culpable.
Change.
Cambia.
That's all you can
Es lo
do.
único en realidad que puedes hacer.
Just stop for a second
Solo para por un instante.
and think intelligently.
Piensa en forma inteligente.
If I suffer and I'm
Si
guilty,
sufro y soy culpable,
what does it change?
¿qué es lo que cambia?
Does it change anything?
¿Cambia alguna cosa?
No.
No.
It just steals another moment
Roba otro momento.
and another
Y
moment.
otro momento.
A moment where you can be
Un momento en el que
powerful,
puedes ser poderoso,
proactive,
proactivo
and
y
giving.
dar.
Guilt
La culpa,
is selfish.
la culpa es egoísta,
It's not holy.
no es sagrada,
It's
es
selfish
egoísta,
because it takes.
porque toma.
Me culpa, me culpa, me culpa, me culpa.
Michael.
It even takes the time of the priest.
Hasta le quita tiempo al cura.
You know, you have to go there.
Tienes que ir ahí.
Oh, forgive me, Father, because I have sinned. You know, he had better things to do.
Tenía mejores cosas.
He wanted to go and feed the poor.
Quería ir a alimentar a los pobres.
And here you are telling him about your dirty thoughts and all the things you did and blah, 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 blah. Maybe you're more entertaining.
Tal vez tú eres más entretenido.
Okay, but the thing is this. It's a waste of time.
Tiempo.
I change.
Cambio.
I change.
Cambio.
I evolve.
Evolución.
I give. It's a waste of time. You know, it's different here. We don't listen to your guilt. You go and you express and you let go. That's it. You let go of the emotion and you heal. But if you just go and keep complaining and you don't let go, what happens? Nothing. You have to see this trick of the mind. My need to suffer. My precious. I love to suffer. You have to see that. You know, it's so obvious in Lord of the Rings. You could see him holding onto that ring. And it was just fear. It was pure fear. It gave him nothing. But he was obsessed with it. And it was such a clear indication. All this evilness, all this power, it was all evil. And he was suffering. My precious, don't touch my precious. That is guilt. That is suffering. Is it precious? No. There's nothing precious about it. Nothing.
¿Qué opinas de la educación que reciben los niños y niñas, nuestros hijos e hijas en las escuelas? ¿No crees que es muy contradictorio con el sistema que aprendemos? ¿Qué podemos hacer para colaborar? What do you think about the education that the children receive, our children, in the schools? Don't you think it's very contradictory? With the system that we are learning, what can we do to cooperate?
You know, we're trying to implement our system into the schools. Just to teach the children to be, to communicate, to feel their feelings, and to connect with themselves. It's not that you have to change the whole system. You have to add something. Something of value. Something that allows children to reach their full potential. Because they're loving themselves, because they feel secure with themselves, because they know how to feel their feelings, they know how to give, and they know how to focus on love. You know, this was noticed over 30, 40 years ago. You know, we teach them how to do and to know. But we don't teach children the most important thing. To be happy, to be inclusive, to be loving, to be giving, to connect with themselves, to love themselves exactly as they are. And that needs to be incorporated. And as a consequence of that, the whole education system will change. But the base from kindergarten has to be that. We have to teach them that. And it's so simple because it's what they already have. We're not actually teaching them anything. We're sustaining it. And this is sustainable development. And for all of the planet, if we sustainably develop the children, that's the base on which we build a society. It has to start at the base. The rest is illusion. History, things to participate in the world. And great. You know, learn acting, learn maths, be a scientist, be a businessman, be a gardener. But firstly, be happy. Because we do all these things because we think they're going to bring us happiness. And they never do. They give us moments of happiness, but not a permanent stream of happiness. and joy and love, that's internal.
Eso es interno.
You know, and even in cultures
Incluso en culturas
that have such a base
que tienen una base tal
in consciousness,
conciencia,
it's completely lost.
está completamente perdida.
Absolute poverty,
Una pobreza absoluta,
spiritual poverty
pobreza espiritual
in all of the
en
world.
todo el mundo.
The tools
Las herramientas
have been lost.
se han perdido.
The importance
La importancia
has been lost.
se ha perdido.
The unity
La unidad
has been lost.
se ha perdido.
We're not one race.
No somos una raza,
We're little segments.
somos pequeños segmentos.
We're totally steeped in fear and
Estamos
illusion.
totalmente metidos en el miedo y la ilusión.
And this needs to change.
Y esto necesita cambiar.
And on some levels it's changing, no?
A un nivel está cambiando,
It's changing.
está cambiando.
But if we do it in the
Pero
schools,
si lo hacemos en las escuelas,
this is my dream.
este es mi sueño.
This is our
Este es
dream.
nuestro sueño.
That's why we want so many people for the 6
Por
months.
eso queremos a tantas personas para estos 6 meses.
This is why we want so many
Por eso
people
queremos tantas personas
to go out and
que
teach.
salgan a enseñar al mundo.
This is why we want so many
Por eso
teachers
queremos tantos maestros
to go and teach the
que salgan a
teachers,
enseñar a los
to
maestros,
teach the
a
children,
enseñar a los niños.
because there's going to be a lot of people to teach,
Porque va a haber muchas personas para enseñar.
because things are
Porque
changing.
las cosas están cambiando.
Gracias.
Gracias.